Good morning, Max. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Julien. How are you? How's Paris in the evening? This lovely evening, or is it a lovely evening?
It is. It is a pretty good one. Um, it's a pretty good one. But today's just gonna be different. I mean, I don't know how to bring this up. I just have to say today's gonna be different, and you can see it. We're both in the
We're both
therapy
therapists.
chair. We probably could both be on the couch. I didn't know how to start this story today because it's not really a story. And I love the fact that you have no idea where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. You've gotten that far.
So here it is. It's what I'd like to discuss today is I've literally no idea where I'm going with that. It's something about customer experience that I like to discuss, and even though I'm going to take a starting point with a specific company, and over the weekend there actually has been a story about it, so I'm going to change a little bit where I'm going with this. But here it is. You've probably heard of a small company out there called Netflix.
Yes, I have heard of them.
And over the course of the past few months, I think it has been a year or so, they've started talking about no longer being able to share passwords.
Yes.
And they have been running a few tests in various countries, and it looks like they are deploying that new guideline. I actually have no idea whether that's happening in the US quite yet, but they've deployed it in France as of last month or a couple of months ago. Is that in place in the US as well?
It's imminent. Somebody made it sound like it was happening. I haven't noticed anything. So,
Okay, so
if it's not happening, it's imminent.
let me give you a little bit of context on why I want to discuss this today. There are multiple reasons here. First, because it's a bold move. To give a little bit of context, they've been all about you can share your password. It's not a big deal from day one because they wanted to grow as fast as possible. They wanted the largest possible audience. They've never bugged anyone about this. And the pandemic has been very good for Netflix, at least at the beginning, because everyone stays home. So you just want to watch stuff. You save probably for most people 2 hours a day of commute. So you're going to have to do stuff. And I don't know how it was in every country around the globe, but many countries implemented a guideline which was stay home. It's not just work from home, it's stay home. Don't go outdoors.
Right, yeah. I can't go anywhere and I'm not commuting. The TV is going to get used.
Exactly. So Netflix had this fantastic growth. Unfortunately, like most tech companies, after the pandemic, the stock as well as the number of users in their case tend to decrease.
Right.
Now, that's the first reason. The second reason is Netflix is doing something that most competitors are not doing, at least the big competitors I'm aware of. You got Amazon Prime, which is all about share your password. We could not care less, but it's also because they're in a different business, even though they do video. Prime is really about getting more products delivered. Video is just the icing on the cake. Could discuss it a little. I'm aware of another one called Canal Plus, which is a very French local thing, which is slightly different from Netflix, but they've built all of their ads for the past couple of years around local stars, TV stars of sorts, making advertisement where they, in their personal life, are sharing their passwords with their friends and friends of friends and friends of friends of friends.
Okay, so they actually market it.
Exactly, so you can tell, unless they make a major change, you're not going to stop sharing it. So that's the second reason. They are doing things differently. And the third reason is Netflix is kind of working like a startup, surprisingly. Typical startup where if you look at Uber, if you look at Lyft, if you look at most of those Uber-like startups, at the beginning, it's not about sharing your password, but it's about growing as fast as possible. You don't care about making a profit. You care about touching as many people as possible, killing competition by distributing free coupons and discounts and free trials and all of that, but having, some sort of monopoly. And then once you're big enough, then you start thinking probably way too late about how am I going to be profitable with that system, because I can't just distribute money
Right.
forever. And it feels like they kind of reached that similar tipping point where now they're big enough, they're actually reducing. So if they don't start making more money, they might actually die because they haven't reached that monopoly they were hoping for. So I thought that's such an interesting topic, and we could compare with various companies. And the angle I would obviously like to take is how does that affect customers? So I'm going to end on one last piece here, which is I was just planning on talking about this, but actually over the weekend I had to experience it because my mom gave me a call and said, I can't access your Netflix account anymore. So
Oh.
I went to my parents' home over the weekend and I had to explain, Mom, sorry, but you're going to have to pay now. And she said, yeah, but they have this option where if you just add $6 on your account, I can still access it. Fine, I'm going to pay that extra $6. And it's true, they mention it everywhere. They advertise it everywhere. It was such a headache finding out how do you actually add $6 to your account. You have all the options to increase your package. I'm already on the premium one, so I could not increase. I could only decrease. You had all the options to create a new account, but it was so difficult. I had to search on Google. I could not find it in the app. I could not find it on their website anywhere. I had to type some very specific keywords on Google to find an article that would then point me to the right page in order for me to pay $6 more a month and be able to migrate her account and give her the access she needed. So here is the fourth pillar I would probably be interested in talking about, which is from a customer experience perspective, why making it so difficult to share your password? Is it just another way to try to encourage people to actually create their own accounts? Or is it bad customer experience and bad UI, which usually not really what Netflix would do, especially that they have experience of a few other countries where they rolled it out. So that's a vast topic, but I find it's a very interesting one. So where do we start? Where do we go from here?
I think it is a very interesting topic. I would start with the conflict between their needs and their customers' needs. We as customers, since I never thought I'd say, I remember the old days where you watched regular TV and there were commercials. There's so many streaming services now, and it, $10 a month here, $15 a month there, $5 a month there, it adds up. All of a sudden, you can end up paying a whole lot of money for TV. And I think we all have limits on how much we're willing to pay. And, Netflix is the biggest one or one of the bigger ones. And certainly they have clout and they have content. But I understand their need to get more revenue per consumer. But I, as a consumer, every one of these services I have to think long and hard. Okay, do I really want to add one more? And suddenly they're creating a lot of those discussions among people who were sharing it for free. I guess if they lose all the free add-ons, they haven't lost any revenue, and there's suddenly a potential customer base they can go back to. But their needs are so counter to their customer needs. I think that's the first piece. And I get them wanting to get more revenue. And I think you're right. They're out of the grow fast, take market share at all costs phase. And they had the earlier thing where they split off and you had to pay more for the DVDs. And that raised a stir, and they just said, too bad, that's what we're doing. And eventually everybody got used to it. Nobody rents the DVDs anymore anyway. So I guess My feeling is, ouch, this is horrible and painful, but they're kind of ripping off a Band-Aid, and I get why. Now, I'm not getting into some of the other things you're talking about, but just kind of
I
on the initial thought.
so I agree with a why. I think it makes a lot of sense. Actually, my first reaction was, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to pay the extra. I think you pay for your own service. We've been lucky. Instead of looking at they change the rules, that's not what I signed up for. I looked at it thinking I've been lucky enough to not pay for it for a very long time, and I'm gonna pay, and I think it's fair. It could probably be because I'm paying for it. My mom isn't. She might have a very different opinion, but at some point, when you get stuff for free, you can expect that sooner or later something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not too bothered with this. I was even looking at how much I pay. I think a few years ago, I was thinking about, I had that weird argument with someone about should I pay for Deezer, the music platform, and I was saying no because it was like $12 while Netflix was 8, and I was thinking, why would I pay more for music than I pay for actual video that has sound in it? Let's not get there. That was a weird argument. But in any case, now I'm looking at my bill and I'm actually paying something like $17 or $18. So it has increased a
Yeah, they've
lot
been
over the
creeping
past
it up.
years.
You're right. You're right.
And I'm actually fine with this because I find I'm using it. I enjoy it, so I'm good with
Yeah.
that. So price change, I'm okay with this. The change of model, I'm fine with this. I'm a bit concerned about them, but you're actually right. The people they will lose, at least a majority of people they will lose, are the people who were getting it for free anyway. So is that really such a loss? Probably not. What I'm thinking though is they had a chance to get these people on board, right? People like my mom who have been just getting the free service for a very long time. And the only reason why they did not lose her is because I was persistent enough to make sure I would find the link to get her to my account. She would not have paid for a full account on her own, that I guarantee. And she was actually telling me, do you have any other account I could use? Because I'm Amazon Prime as well for videos, which I barely use. But the good thing is I can share the password. So she could have switched entirely to another platform. Instead of turning it into something where they gain new paying customers, the fact that they made it so difficult to access that specific page, they are actually taking the risk of losing the freeloaders, but not turning them into paid customers. It's a whole, freemium concept. I
Right.
was talking about platform, about startups, but it's really about freemium. You first get tons of free users, but then you have to convert them. Here, they are not really doing such a good job, I'm afraid.
That part's staggering. I mean, that is, if your whole thing is we're not getting you're we're done with freeloaders, um, but we're going to give you a good deal for the extra people, and a good deal is almost as much as a full subscription was a little while ago. So it's a lot of revenue for them. This is a huge incremental revenue. Why that isn't like a button this big in the middle of their login page, I don't know. Especially when they're implementing this in a very disruptive way, right? They're just your mom logged on one day and she couldn't log on, and okay, so that's an awful customer experience. Then she's turning you into her tech support. She's turning you into her subscription manager. And for you to then not have it be, again, this great big button that says click here, that button should have shown up proactively. That there should have been emails to you saying, hey, this is going to happen. Click here. We got this, turn it into a positive. You know what? We're sorry we're doing this. Here's a great deal. No interruption to service. It's only $6 a month. It's a fraction of your overall subscription. And come on, you've been freeloading. You shouldn't feel bad about this. What a miss.
I agree. And just to take the segue to the freemium model, it's true for every company that's doing freemium. You first try to grab as much as you can, and you know that probably 80% of your base, they only came because it was free. There is no chance you're going to turn them into a
Right,
paying customer.
right,
But you have to do your very best to transform the other 20%, because if you don't, then all of your efforts here went for nothing, except maybe for branding. But again, branding only goes so far.
right.
Um, so I'm kind of aligned with as simple as possible is probably the right and the only path to success, because here what they are doing is they are losing freeloaders, but they are losing potential revenue. But even worse than that, they are actually sending these people to their competitors whose new branding is, you can share your password, we don't mind. Please come to
Right,
us.
right. Yeah, yeah. Let me contrast to the behemoth here. And obviously this isn't, I'm going to say it this way, and it's not quite right. Somewhere there's a mistake, not an intent. Because one of the points you made was they are promoting all over the place this special deal for the $6. So it's not like they are, uh, they're. It's not like they're not promoting this and pushing this. It's just when it comes
Actually,
to execution, they're messing it up.
I'm not sure they are promoting it. I've heard it a million times, but I'm not sure it's because they are promoting it. I definitely heard it from my mom so many times. I've heard it from TV, but not from ads. Actually, I'm not even sure Netflix does any advertising anyway. I don't watch TV, so except for Netflix and Prime a little bit. I don't watch actual TV, so maybe they would have ads there. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it from ads on the internet or on LinkedIn or on Facebook or anything, but I've seen it on TV because the media are actually talking about this. They've been talking for so long about Netflix is about to do this, Netflix is about to do that, and they have been talking about this option. So I'm thinking it was probably not intended from Netflix to make so much noise around it. It's just since it's brand new and people are talking about it, the media tend to talk about it. So it's
Media's
probably
picking
a
it up.
ripple effect. Yeah. That's what I'm guessing. So it may have been the intent, making sure you make it difficult enough that people would say, it's just $10 a month extra. Let me have my
I'm
own
just to
account
sign
and
up on
all the
my own.
benefits. But even then,
That
what I would have
that
done
makes
is
no
exactly what
sense
you.
to me.
Yeah, because I agree with what you were saying. I would have that huge button, just add the $6, and probably add one more step, which is click here and you're going to have this. Or, you know what? If you were actually creating your own account, you will have this plus all of this extra cool feature. So that either way, you're going to convert that person, but you might still salvage it and make it a full user versus a backpacker that's just taking the extra, is just paying the extra $6. But either way, that opportunity is really missed from the way they've done it. And I'm even more surprised by knowing that they've rolled it out in a few other countries before. They must have learned something from that rollout, and it didn't feel that way.
Yeah, that's interesting. That just feels like a huge miss. I could see other ways to package it and other ways to approach it, but they picked one. That's their plan. And then why on earth? I was going to say, why on earth wouldn't you promote the heck out of it? But maybe you're right. Maybe they don't really want that. What they really want is these people to sign up fresh. But then why don't you say $6 a month for the first year when you sign up for your own account? And then we're going to roll you into
Exactly.
12 or whatever, just make that attractive and easy. And actually, I've got
And
a good
even
argument for why you don't do that, because they know who you are. They don't know who your mother is. So they don't even have a way to target her the way they can target you.
true, I've not received anything. I mean, they are not even using the platform. They could have a pop-up. Amazon Prime, what they're doing, which I hate, by the way, what they're doing, their model is slightly different, but they put ads that you can skip a little bit like on YouTube. When you start a video, they usually not when you start a video, when you move from one episode of something to the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
episode, they usually have an ad in between that you can skip. So you have the ability to have pop-up messages or videos or information. They are not even using that. They know you got freeloaders. They could push it. They could do something about it. I think that's a terrible example of how to do freemium, which is really, they didn't intend to do freemium, but that's really the model they've got. And it feels like a terrible miss here. So to me, if I had to boil it down to one learning piece, is when you are in a freemium model and you have so much information, you know your customer's email, you know their name, you know their preferences, you actually have a platform that they're using regularly where you can pop up a message. It's not so much about the price. It's about the simplicity. And I love how you said this. There should be a gigantic button where all I need to do is click, make it happen. And they're kind of missing that simplicity.
Yeah. And you know, if the idea is we're falling short on revenue, why wouldn't you make it as easy as possible to say, here's more revenue? I mean, how is that not
exactly
the easiest decision in the history of decisions?
Well, we can probably bring it back again in a few months' time to see how it went and probably get your experience in the US once they roll it out there, see if they do it any different. Maybe the experience will be better. Maybe maybe they rolled it out a different way in different countries.
It'll be interesting to see. And, you know, it was pretty rough sledding when they did the DVD split. And I got a hunch, you know, they are Netflix. I got a hunch they're going to bounce through this.
I hope so. Well, perfect. Thank you for your time. That was a weird episode, but I just felt like we had to talk about it. So next week...
It's a good and meaty topic.
Agreed. So next week, let's go back to the usual flow, and one of us is going to end up on the couch. Thank you so much for your time, Max. And I wish you have a beautiful day then.
All right. Thanks, Julien. We'll talk soon.